Well. It's been a while since I've been gone live and did a video, and I've been trying my best to get some music for it. But you know what's happening? My damn computer is not working for me to get some music. So I say, ain't that something else? So you gotta have to deal with the silence. I just did some rape. Hape is sacred tobacco medicine, which is very good with getting out phlegm and mucus and all kinds of stuff out of you. I've been telling folk since this whole so-called COVID thing that it's good to use the hape. So I bear with me. I got to blow my other nose, blow the medicine in, and I'll get into the subject of this daggone video about to do, because I got a lot of stuff I have to share with y'all. All right, so give me a second, and we're gonna get busy. All right, give me 1 second. All right. Yeah. I'm excited. It's been a while since I did the damn video. Whoa. So, real quick, how you do this real quick? You know, the painting behind there my mama did a little before she passed away. My mom's, of course, Mama Kalindi up in the house. You know, I'm gonna be working on my altar soon because I just making some room for some things. But let's put this window up so I can get some nice fresh air. But do another rap round and then we'll get started. It's been a while, y'all. It's been a while, but been doing work, so I really ain't got time to make videos like that because I've been real busy getting a lot of things done. So let's fix this here. So I'm gonna have to hold this and hold on. Top chat. Let me see here. All messages are. As the last time I did a video, I couldn't see the messages on there. And someone told me it was something I had to press on there to get the videos going. But I got a lot of stuff to build with my people on. Something very serious, very deep. But just give me 1 second. And I wanted some music with this. But like I said, my daggone computer couldn't get the internet on it for some reason. And those who know me know that I'm still working on with the technology stuff. So bear with me. It's been a long day for me. Been doing some carbo healing treatments, frog medicine for people all day today. And my Tuesdays are off. So people love to hit me up on my day off. So since I got up this morning, I've been getting things going. And I just came from Chinatown and was dealing with one of my Tai Chi teachers. Real good brother, and who teaches the class. So I'm glad I'm back in. I still teach, but teachers are always learning as well. You always got to perfect your craft. So yeah, I just came from down there, and I build with this monk who's actually a lama. You know, he goes by the name of Peter. That's his American name, so people won't chop up his Tibetan name. But it was so deep after class, because he go to Tai Chi class down in Chinatown too. And it was crazy, right? Making sure I ain't got no food in my teeth right here. I just ate this bomb sandwich I made. The sandwich was sprouted bread. It was almond butter. I put red raspberries on it. I put blueberries on it, and pomegranate seeds on it, and some natural jam. Oh, that's my midnight snack right there. So, the llama, one day I was in class and he was playing some, I heard him playing this music for my teacher. And I noticed, I heard the chanting and I was like, hold on. I was like, brightest of energy. Oh, okay, I got a comment. Well, thank you. You know, man, he noticed that well, I noticed the music he was playing. I recognized the chants. So I went up to him. I said, hey, what is this you listening to? And I started saying how in the early 2000s I was studying with a lot of the lamas and a lot of the Rinpoches, and he recognized some of the people that I knew, that he knew, because the circle is really small, you know. So he got to building with me, and it was so funny because a couple of days before I was looking into the cupping technique, you know, and I was saying to myself, man, I really want to learn that particular cupping to work with some of my clients. And this dude, he does traditional cupping and all that, and he was like, yo, I want to take you under my wing, blah blah blah. Long story short, I went to class today, and he's like, yo, let's get a bite to eat after class. And we're building, and I tell him the particular dude that really changed my life to get into Tibetan Buddhism at the time. His name is Lama Yeshe. And it was a book called Becoming Your Own Therapist, which had a big impact on me. And I told him, yeah, it was Lama Yeshe. And he said, Lama Yeshe. He said, that's the basically the temple or school that he's associated with. So the connection there again, it was like, whoa. And then I was like, yeah. And then I got into Milarepa. He's one of my favorite yogis. And he's like, oh, you're into Milarepa, boom, boom, boom. This dude did a live video of me to go reach some of his monk friends and nun friends up in Tibet and in India. So it was so funny. He said, oh, I want to go Facebook Live with you. So we in the restaurant and he's doing this live joint and he's having me talk to his monk friends about the importance of Tai Chi and Qigong and all that, and to get your energy going, cultivating the life force energy. So it was a dope evening. It was a dope evening, man. And big up, big up to, I was telling them about, this is Lama Yeshe, by the way. I'll show you the pictures of, this is one of the teachers really that had a big impact on me. This dude was wild. He would go to the strip club, to the gay parade, all that. And not that he was into any of these things, but he was trying to understand Western culture, all right? And just a deep dude all around, and he had, on the low, he had some cities or some, what we call some supernatural powers. It was a story where he was on a meditation retreat with his students, and they were in the middle of nowhere. I think they was in Nepal. And in the morning, his students woke up smelling all this wonderful scent of this food. And they woke up to all these Western pastries, basically, croissants and muffins and all these other things. And his students were wondering, where did this food come from? Because we in the middle of nowhere. The pastries and all these baked goods were fresh, like they just came out of the oven, right? So they realized this dude had the ability or the acidity to manifest food out of the ethers, deep dude, Lama Yeshe. But he would never brag about his powers or nothing. He was a very humble dude, very on the low, And I was telling him, man, take this other picture out because I just talked about Milarepa. It's a painting depiction of Milarepa here, one of the famous yogis of Tibet. This brother had the ability to fly, shapeshift into different animals, all kinds of stuff. There's a good movie on him. You could see free on YouTube if you look up movie Milarepa. They were supposed to make the second half of that movie because the first part of the movie is just talking about his early life where he learned how to control the weather and stuff because he got revenge on his uncle and his aunt and killed many people because he was learning the darker arts at that time from the Bong tradition, which was a shamanic tradition in Tibet before Tibetan Buddhism came about. But he turned his life around when he met his true teacher Mappa. So this monk was blown away that I was connected to his lineage and I knew these things about his tradition. Excuse me, I'm gonna take this râpé for a second. I did one nose, may do the other. And I made my own little pipe here because my other pipe broke. So don't think that you gotta have some fancy pipe or anything. I made this out of I went to get some a smoothie with the bobo tea or whatever, and they have these nice big straws. So I took a bunch of the straws, cut them in half, put it on the lit the stove, melted the plastic, put it together, and put some tape around it, and it's good to go. Yeah. Ooh. Ooh. Yep. Get all that mucus out and stuff. All right. All right. Okay. All right. Let's get this started. And I can't be too long. I know I haven't done a video in a while, but try to keep my studies up because I'm supposed to go to Mexico next month, and I'm gonna be learning how to administer snake venom. All right. First time I tried the snake venom was about 2 months ago, and it blew my mind. I still have the marks from the cobra venom that I got. That's right. I don't know if y'all can see it. May take this off here. See the little marks on my skin here. I don't know if you can see it, but it's applied the same way that you do combo, frog medicine. You make a burn mark on the first layer of the skin, and then you put the snake venom right on there. It's an ancient tradition, believe it or not, around the world of using the snake venom for various different type of healing. The cobra deals with cleaning out your lungs, your heart, your blood, your heart, your lungs, and also rewires the brain, That's why after I took the snake venom for almost a month, it was like I was in the Zen state of mind, man. It was deep. I literally had no thoughts in my mind for almost a month. Just clear. It was amazing, Just felt serene and at peace, But each of the snake venoms deal with different things, Like the rattlesnake deals with people who have hard of hearing, and also those who have bad vision, So I'm gonna be going to Mexico to learn about 8 different snakes that I'll be working with, and also I believe I'm supposed to learn about scorpion venom as well, you know. So I can't wait. I can't wait until I learn this new medicine. My teacher, it's very interesting. Um, he learned, he doesn't speak Spanish, but he learned Spanish overnight. He speaks it fluently through using a combination of these two snakes. I believe it was the copperhead and the water moccasin. And two of these snakes that usually don't mate together, they actually mated together and had this very unique combination of their offspring. And my teacher used that particular snake, and it opened up a part of his brain that just had him learn this language fluently overnight. Crazy. So many things to us we just don't know. It's deep. Well, I better do another round because, we gotta go in. Gotta go in tonight. But I'm glad y'all with me, taking time to listen to whatever I gotta say. How you spell the name of the movie? Somebody just asked something here. Let's see how you go on this little thing here. There is babe, what's the button to see what someone just said here? Jeez Louise, man, how you do this, man? Damn technology stuff. I think somebody said something about what's the name of the movie. Uh, uh, just I don't know the exact name, but just type in the Milarepa, Mila was Mila Repa, Milarepa, and just type in movie. All right. There'll be two movies coming up. One is a movie that's not in English. It is look like some bootleg movie. That's not the one. That's not the one. That looked like just some trash right there. But the other one is more high quality movie, the one I'm talking about. And it's so dope because they even show the fast rudder technique that they know about in Tibet too, right? And I remember one of my old teachers, Garchid Rinpoche, he was telling me about that particular technique. Oh, you're welcome. Uh, is the fast rudder technique is crazy because they put a certain mantra they write on the bottom of their feet, and they're able to run across and run real quick over the mountains and land. And they show that in the movie, which was so dope. I was like, ah, shit. They're depicting the fast runner technique, because he had Milarepa found his friend because he's trying to find a new teacher because his mom wants to have revenge on his family, on his aunt and uncle, because during that time, women could not acquire property. This whole patriarch bullshit, and Milarepa's father died young. He was a wealthy man, and his aunt and uncle was like, "Oh yeah, when Milarepa comes of age, 18 or whatever, we'll hand over the land to him." And basically, they played Milarepa and his mom. They never gave them the property. They treated them like servants, like slaves, and you know. So his mother became very bitter. It said like, "Hey, I want you to learn dark arts, sorcery, to get revenge on your aunt and uncle." And it shows in the movie where this dude starts, this whole ritual where he's controlling the lightning and the thunder and the hail and all that. And he wreaks havoc on them. He kills not only his uncle and uncle, but the whole village. Uh, But there's one scene in the movie, like I was saying, where he met this friend, right? Somebody said something. Me- Message retracted. I don't know what that means, but it shows one scene in the movie where the dude's does the fast running technique, and he says, "I gotta check to see." He runs to go get this message to these people across town, and he shows him he does his little thing on his feet, and dude's like shh, like some straight out Jedi stuff. It was I was like, oh shoot, they put this in that thing in the movie. It's deep. It shows them levitating stuff with their mind. These are arts that certain abilities that we all can acquire through self development. Okay, and then y'all, for those who don't know what blowing up my nose, it's called rapé or hape. Very good for this so-called COVID thing right now. Gets the mucus and the phlegm out of here. It opens up the lungs. You could breathe. Like, very good for people who have respiratory issues. I have given this medicine to plenty of people who have asthma, and you know, it was two people that was wheezing like crazy, couldn't breathe. The first time it was, I noticed that it was helping people with that was when I was in Brooklyn. I was at the 2020 Ascension Conference, and there's a young lady wheezing, and her mother's like, will this help my daughter? I was like, yeah. I gave it to her, and she stopped wheezing right there. So it's a very powerful medicine. Uh, Also, it helps help ground an individual. That's why they give it to a lot of people before they go in a major ceremony, be it with ayahuasca or San Pedro or Bufo or what have you. Very grounding. You know, so it's very good with people with anxiety and different things like that. Helps opens up your nadis or your meridians, all kinds of stuff. Okay, so let me get down to the subject at hand. Sorry for y'all seeing me blow all these snots out. I know it's I know it's like, what is how this dude do it? Seeing all his boogies coming out and stuff. But yeah, it's been a while since I did a video, and I wanted to do this video because just a lot of the changes that I've been going through, and when you do this work, especially the medicine work and stuff, the ethogens and stuff, if you're really serious about it, you're able to really do a lot of internal healing very quickly, you know? So people that might know you might be like, yo, I know this dude or know this girl. You doing that work, man, even a month that goes by and you doing this work, you're not the same person. Your elevation goes very quickly, you know? So I learned that a lot of my healing abilities have been increasing lately on a deep level. The first time I noticed this was when I did a iboga ceremony with a good elder, and somebody says, "Hey, what about LSD? Does that heal?" Well, yeah, I've taken tabs before, but I'm on the fence about it. You know, shrooms definitely. I'm on the fence about LSD because it's man-made, and I'm not saying that you can't get some good healing from it, because I've had some very introspective experiences with LSD, but I stay more in the realm of natural medicine, you know, because these things, mushrooms, for instance, and if anybody knows about mushrooms and knows about the mycelium network, You know, mushrooms are much older than the plant kingdom. So you're talking about information, you know, and you can acquire more information from these older plants and fungi, specifically the fungi. You know, our late teacher Baba Kalindi would speak a lot about that. Because this is information, you know. You have to understand that mushrooms can survive in the vacuum of space. You know, they travel on asteroids, you know. Because mushroom spores, the seeds are microscopic, you know. And to know, like, people like Terrence McKenna, you know, I'm not a big Terrence McKenna fan, but I've listened to some of his work, you know. And he speaks upon saying how the mushrooms are the real aliens, you know. He said if you ever wanted to think about an alien, think of just the mushroom, right? Because the mushroom can travel on asteroids, like I said, and literally go to planet, all right? Seeding different planets, seeding different civilizations to go up to speed with their own development, their own enlightenment. And so it's not only information with mushrooms that are just from this planet. You're talking about spores that have come from other star systems. So you could tap into the information on a galactic level with the mushrooms. So it's very profound medicine, those mushrooms. LSD, if you do the history on that, it doesn't have a long history, you know. LSD was created, I forget what year it was, I believe the 1940s or something, I'm not sure, don't quote me on that. But it doesn't have a long history, you see. Somebody says, hey brother, any tips for permanently basking astral vampires? Yeah, we're going to talk about that. I'm definitely going to talk about that. you it, it, the LSD or the tabs, they have so much of a long history, you see. So there's so much information that you could get. It has more earthly information, you see. And but also the LSD, it has been proven that it could be manipulated. You know, the CIA has done mind control programs with LSD, you know. You could look into that with the MK Ultra, looking into MK Ultra, and that'll just give you some information on how the government used LSD for mind control programs. When the CIA tried to go in and use other ethogens, like mushrooms, for instance, the mushrooms kicked their ass. So it's like these other ethogens, these psychedelics that are natural, it has a spirit to it, you know? And that's what I noticed the difference between LSD and, say, for instance, other psychedelics or ethogens. It has a spirit to it, it has a consciousness to it on the level where you can't go in doing the wicketry or some of the stuff that of manipulation like they did with the LSD. You know, the CIA got its ass kicked with the mushrooms and was shown that they couldn't, use that a part of their mind control MK Ultra program. But I was saying that in regard to the healing work that has been increasing with me, I noticed that one time when I was in a Iboga ceremony, and one of my teachers who was doing the ceremony for me, his one of his foot was swollen, his ankle, everything was very swollen, and I was in that high state of mind with the Iboga, and I remember all this energy started coming out my hands. I said, "Can I do some energy healing work on your leg?" I said this to the elder, and he said, "Sure." I was, my hands started shaking uncontrollably. And in my mind's eye, I seen like a hologram literally come out my arm. And it literally like scanned the elder's leg and its foot. and it was like this crisscross thing, like it was like literally repairing the muscle tissue. It was amazing. It was like some high technology. And one of my good friends, Acacia, if y'all not hip to this sister, Acacia Lewis, a deep, deep, deep woman, she talks about that when you're on the ethogens or when you're in a very meditative state, how you could see natural technology that's within us. And in that case, that's why I seen that came out my arm. It was like, came over, scanned his leg, like, did this whole crisscross thing. And it was about 3 to 4 minutes, the swelling went completely down. It was another elder that was there, and he was like, "Man, what did you just do?" He's like, "It looked like you did some." He made a reference to that cartoon, Dragon Ball Z. He said, "You did some Dragon Ball Z thing." It was funny. He said, "Could you do that again?" And at will. And I was like, "Man, this is the first time something like this happened. I gotta explore this more." So I was able to explore it more later, maybe about 2 years later or whatever. And it happened when I was teaching a combo class. I had some people, I'm getting out my shell basically. And folks was like, Dooley, you got this knowledge of different things. It's time to share it, time to teach it. So I said, all right. So they wanted me to teach some folks some combo frog medicine, and I did a class, and then we had about 11 people that came out of town. Some people from some folk from Atlanta, from North Carolina, from Detroit, DC. It was a beautiful class. It was a really very beautiful class, and they were able to learn how to administer the combo and do a self-treatment for themselves. And then I invited the community to come out on the last day of the class for them to work on people from the community. It was a beautiful class. And so the last day of the class, people was leaving to go home, and it was two sisters that had their flight in the morning, So they stayed they were the last two to stay the night, And there was one sister that had these two lumps on her feet. One of the lumps on the left foot wasn't that big, it was a little smaller. But the lump on the right foot was like this big lump. And, I was microdosing with some mushrooms, and I got in the zone. She asked me, can you do a healing on my foot? So, I was microdosing with the mushrooms, and, I start getting in the zone, and I start doing this thing with my hand again. This time, I focused and seeing my consciousness go in that part of her foot. I worked on the left foot first, and I concentrated on my consciousness at the size of her cells. And what I did was I imagined, because the big part of healing is really learning about energy work, but also learning about your creative imagination, all right? Your creative visualization. So I imagined as the energy was leaving my hand, the chi, the life force energy, I imagined like a ripple effect going through the foot. Like, somebody like throwing a little pebble in the water. Somebody I had the surgery on a broken ankle a few weeks ago, and it took 9 grams past Sunday night and restructured my bone. I don't know how to read the thing to pull the comment back up, so I have to read it real fast. But it looks like the person said they took 9 grams and they were able to restructure the bone. This shit is real. This is what I'm about to tell. This, right on, whoever just made that comment. Right on, brother or sister. That's what I'm talking about. Because your higher self kick in, and you're able to start to do all kinds of stuff. It's deep. So I imagine like this ripple effect of energy, like somebody throwing a rock in the pond, and you see the ripple effect. I seen this like this beam, like a a focused ray of energy coming from my hands. Actually, peace, brother. It does work. Yeah, that's right. So I had my fingers kind of like this to kind of have a focus, like stream of energy come through. And when it was like this, it was more like a laser that I was seeing coming from my hand. All right. Other times, when you're doing energy work, you could sometimes use your whole palm. There's a part on your hand called the Ligong point, which is a chakra in your hand. So there's different ways to do this energy work. But for me to have focus intuitively, I said, let me make my fingers like this. And I seen like a ray of of energy going through, right? And then I would see the ripple effect just go through. As I was doing this, I seen the left foot with the smaller lump just disappeared. Like just literally, I was like, oh my God, right? So I was like, okay, it worked on this foot, may try this other foot. Now the right foot was much bigger. It was like at least about this big. I'm going in, doing zzz, with the ray of energy, and then it would like the ripple effect, focusing on the lump there. It started shrinking. It was like I was I couldn't even believe what was happening at the moment. I was like, oh my God. And by the way, while it was late, I think it was like maybe well, almost going on 2 in the morning. I was already a little tired from just teaching that whole day and stuff. So my chi or my energy wasn't up to its fullest potential, even though it was doing this whole thing. So when it almost got to being almost disappeared, I felt like this negative energy come into my body, right? The residue, the energetic residue of this whatever was in her foot. The energy got caught in my throat. Now, this is what's interesting. Now, while you're doing this work, even traveling through the multiverse and stuff, this is trial and error. I don't see this as a bad thing or good thing. I see it as a learning experience. And sometimes when you go through even effed up things, you learn from them, all right? At that moment, that's why certain shamans or medicine men or women, you sometimes see them when they're taking out disease or illness out of a person. Sometimes they might suck it out of a person, like, and they imagine an entity or a protector in their throat area to neutralize that negative energy. You see, I didn't imagine that. I didn't do that. So I'm feeling some stuck there. Now, what made it even more interesting is I was doing this energetic purging thing. And I seen it as a way of releasing this negative energy that got trapped in my body. Now, what was so interesting about this, I have to rewind and then I'll come right back. My mom, God bless her, transitioned, all right? She died of cancer, all right? At the time, I wanted to give her combo, different other method, natural healing. She wasn't trying to hear it. She's like, no, I'm not taking, my mom's funny. I'm not taking no fraud, da, 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 da. So, I was seeing her wither away from the breast cancer. I remember before she passed, I was doing a healing on her. And I remember that I felt like I was sucking the cancer out of her. It was a point where my mom stopped me and said, stop. The angels are telling me for you to stop right now, because you're going to get sick. You're going to take on this stuff that you're pulling out. And in her mind, I understood that it was deeper. It was on a deeper level. Sometimes people make contracts, and when it's time for them to go, it's time for them to go. And for a person to try to switch around that contract, there's certain things that you could get around that, but it's all karmic. Sometimes people learn through diseases. Sometimes people learn through trials or tribulations, and this is their path. So who gives me a right, or anyone to give a right to say, hey, I'm going to, basically interrupt this agreement that you made for yourself even before you came here. This was something that, for some reason, out of my control, that you had to learn. My mom passed, but the thing is that I learned something that day, even with her, because as I was taking some of this out of her, I started doing the purging thing with my mom, the energetic purging thing, without throwing up, but this energetic purging thing. Well, that happened with the lady when I shrank this thing in her. I was doing this thing for a minute, and she even helped me. It was the other sister that was there. I asked them, I was like, intuitively, I was like, go get the tuning fork for me, please. Put the tuning fork at my throat. And then I used this as well. Big up to my good friend, Ankara. He makes these special ankhs. But also, he made this wonderful crystal dagger, that I bought from him. I'm going to have a Thundercat moment. Thunder, 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 Thundercats. You know what I mean? I used this joint, and intuitively something told me just to start going at the neck. As I was doing this, the crystal dagger was taking out the negative energy that got trapped into my throat. It was so deep. I was just doing certain movements with it, and it was literally coming out, you know? You got to have your spiritual tools, There was a lot of things, I'm going to go back to that, even your cloak, your sacred robe and all that. I'm going to go to that in a second. But, oh man, great tool. This is a great tool that I'll be definitely using more often in my healings. Very good tool. So the lady the thing that shrank down, she told me, she realized through doing this healing that with her that she was hexed by her old boyfriend. He put something on her foot, all right? And what to make matters even worse, she's been walking around with these two big old lumps on her feet and stuff for almost, she said, 8 years. So she was blown away because she went to the foot doctors and all that. What they call the foot doctors, the orthopedics or whatever. You know, none of the doctors could give her an answer of why these big lumps were on her foot, and couldn't do anything for her. So she was walking around for 8 years in extreme pain on her feet, which was deep. So for her to see these things shrink like that was mind blowing for her. Yeah, man, it was deep. So that was one thing that happened. And this all happened in a span of maybe like 2 weeks. Next major healing I did was with a brother who has Parkinson's disease, right? Now this guy had been dealing with this and shaking for so long, right? His wife, who asked for me to do this healing on him, and again, these karmic contracts is deep. She said that before I go into his healing, I'll just tell you that she was saying that she knows it was meant for him to get Parkinson's because it humbled him. The husband that she was with before he got this Parkinson's was a very arrogant, very prideful type of man that you couldn't tell him nothing, right? When he got the Parkinson's, it actually humbled him. She said that she became more in love with her husband when he got the disease because he became a more loving man through this. So just funny how these things work. But she says she felt that he was finally at a place to let that go now, that he got his karmic lesson, all right? And I could say it's true just because of the healing that went down with him. First of all, I did some San Pedro and some mushrooms be, to work with this man. And I did some stuff with him that I never did with anyone before. First of all, I'm used to now being confident in the different languages that come out of me when I'm in trance. I'll be in trance, and I've spoke about this in other videos before, but I've used to do this type of chanting stuff for years, and for the longest time, I thought I was just speaking some gibberish stuff, but it would come out these songs, and it wasn't until I spoke at this college, UMass Amherst, that I was speaking there for the subject of urban shamanism, and that was the year where I actually met Baba Kalindi, for the first time, and it was just wonderful to meet him that time and the vibe with the elder, and I remember him saying to me that he really liked my talk, which was a big honor for me. I was like, wow, you do? Oh shoot, the OG's giving me props. So I remember during the break, I spoke to this dude, and we was just talking, and I told him about how I do these random chants, right? And he says, "Well, Dooley, let me hear it," you know. So I kind of got in the zone, and I just started chanting one of these songs that just came out of me. And he says, "Dooley, do you know what you're saying?" I was like, "No, I told you. I thought these were just some random gibberish stuff." He said, "Man," he's like, I recognize some of the words that you were saying in your chant." And he said, "You are speaking ancient Mayan language." And I was like, "Word?" Because this guy would go back and forth to Mexico and sit with different shamans and stuff. And so he would do mushroom ceremonies, and they would still speak in the Mayan language with these ceremonies that he attended. So he recognized some of the words that I was saying in this song to him, this chant. So that night, working with the guy who had Parkinson's, I started speaking this type of language that it was a whole different type of vibes. Because sometimes I might chant and it might be some African type of language coming out, or sounding like something maybe even South American or whatever. But this time, what was coming out of me seemed like a very celestial light language. It sounded like a didgeridoo that was coming out of me. It was so deep. And his wife witnessed it, and she's like the resonance that was coming out of me. She said it was vibrating the whole house. It was crazy. But her husband said, my mind, because at that point when I was doing it, I had my hand on his head. And he said, my mind and his mind synced as one. All right. And at that point, I seen him stop shaking for several minutes. It was amazing. And, there was times where Spirit told me to use the dagger over his back in certain ways. And it was just interesting. Everything that comes out when you're in the zone, these things were part of the all collective mind. So this is a whole journey of you just remembering things, We don't really have to study stuff. These things are in your DNA. So you're just tapping in, and you're just remembering things, even from your past lives and all that. It's so amazing. So I remember after doing a while of the healing with him, I went out to take a break because my energy was coming down, and I started to feel a little tired. And I was like, may go outside and lay on the earth to recharge myself. After doing that and coming back into her house, I seen him sitting on the couch. He started to shake again. He was shaking a little. So Spirit my higher self came in and said, I did a guided meditation with him. And I said to him, visualize like a stream, like a ocean, you know, a water coming down through you of this golden ocean. And it was so deep because I was right there with him. You know, everywhere his mind was going or whatever, I was traveling in his body right with him. And as soon as I was like, just concentrate on this stream of golden light coming through you. And he stopped shaking again, right? And I could see the look on his wife's face. She was like, you know, and as soon as he would shake again, I said, no, no, concentrate, concentrate. I want you to have the golden stream of light come down to you, to your hands again. Soon as, and it was funny, I was so synced with his mind that I felt him right when he was at his hands. And as soon as he would concentrate, the shaking would stop. It was so amazing. And I told him, I said, you see, you can heal yourself. You know, I don't care what these doctors say or nothing. You can heal yourself. You know, I said, give praise to the Most High, the All Great Spirit, to show you this right now. You know, and I got an insight. Spirit told me that, oh, somebody said, glad I came across this. Well, thank you, Will I am. Great Spirits showed me that the healing for him would be totally complete when I come back from Mexico, and told me that when I use the snake venom with him in the bufo, that he's gonna be Gucci, he's gonna be good. So that was deep. The last healing that I did recently, that was off. Man, it was just, whew, was this one good person, special person to me. She's been dealing with a lot, right? And I've been telling her that certain people that she's been hanging with, not to put them down or say that they're bad people or anything, but they have real low vibrational spirits or entities on them. And she didn't believe me at first, you know. She thought that I just didn't want her to hang out with these particular individuals. And whatever was been going through her or happening with her, she started to get sick. Like she was complaining about something going on with her stomach. It got so bad that she was willing to go to the doctor and see if she needed an operation or something, right? I told her, don't go to the doctor. I said, let's seek some alternative type of healing methods. I said, I have some herbalist friends, different people I could refer you to, or I could even do a healing on you. But at least let's check some different avenues before you take that final step of going to the doctor. So she said, okay. And I end up doing a healing for her this one day. You know, I had her microdose with a little mushroom. I didn't take any mushroom or anything that day. I just utilized just my rattle. And you have to understand that all these things, the rattle, the drum, the dagger, all these things are your spiritual tools when you're going in deep with this type of work, or even if you're going into the spirit realm. These are all type of things that have their special abilities, all right? I'll show you this one rattle that I got in Mexico that's real dope. I just want to show y'all this. This one I got from one of these street vendors while I was in Mexico. And it just called me out. I was like, wow, look at this. This is so special. It has the foot of a deer on it. And, you know, you have to understand that these animals aren't harmed. You know, even one of my friends, when he makes his fans, out of hawk feathers and different things. You find these animals that might be, dead on the street or whatever, and you do your prayer for them. Hold up, what is it? Somebody said something. Where's the best place to go and seek plant medicine healing? Well, whoever just made that comment, I don't know what state or what part of the world you're in. Um, I have couple of good friends that do healing work too in different areas that I could refer you to. Um, I used to do a lot of group, ceremonies. Right now, I'm kind of just doing personal one-on-one type of healings with folk right now. Um, but things might change where I might get back in the swing of things and start doing, group, bigger group healings and stuff. Um, some folk want me to go to Atlanta when I come back from Mexico to administer some frog medicine and some snake venom with folk and stuff. So I'll keep people posted about when I go to Atlanta to do that, you know. And I got my good friend Tellis, who's out in Atlanta. He's a good friend of mine. I could really, somebody says here, do you have an email address where I can contact you? Yes, of course. Um, oh, there's another comment. You can order herbs and learn yourself as well. Research on learn dose legal. Yes, that's right. You know, uh, or Instagram. Okay. Well, the other person that made the comment too that yeah, you can learn these things on your own. You know, a lot of I didn't have a teacher per se when it came to this shamanic work myself. A lot of these things I learned through trial and error myself. Um, but if some people feel that they want more guidance, and I can understand if people are more beginners on here, there's definitely plenty of people out there that can assist you, you know. I was just saying my good friend Tellis um, from Atlanta, he's a great brother who does a lot of Aya ceremonies out there and does some great work too. I always big him up. Got my good friend, Brother Sincere from Detroit. Get at him too if you're in that area. So I got a couple of good friends out there doing this great work. Um, I have heard it is important to have a sitter or guide when you are doing plant medicine. Yeah, for beginners, definitely. Even Baba Kalindi, he talked about the different steps of dosages, starting off a little low and then working your way up. And there's many people out there that really definitely, you know, uh, advocate, really, for sitters. Because a lot of people, you have to understand, some people have never had an out of body experience. Some people have never had a spiritual awakening of some sort. So that it could be very scary. It could be very, overwhelming for some people, For some other people, it might be a walk in the park for them. Other people, they might feel more comfortable with having that guidance first as they're getting their feet wet, right? Um, so, yeah, sitters are important if you're first starting off with this. And the sitter is someone that you really trust, somebody that you really feel comfortable with for holding space for you. Um, Somebody who's not going to be judging you, because you don't want that energy around you. You don't want somebody to be, oh man, did be talking about your business after your journey, be like this dude or this woman was bugging out. Just like stripped naked and was running around the room and doing. You don't need that. You need somebody that has a very open, non-judgmental heart, and who's there to really just hold space and to make sure you're safe. And and not also be all into your somebody else has something. Is that a closet behind you? Something came out or is just seeing things? Might have been my nephew, that just walked. I just heard him walk into the kitchen, you know. But yeah, that's into the kitchen every day. I can close the door if it makes people a little more comfortable. But yeah, you know, you want somebody that you could really trust, that you feel comfortable with. Okay, yes, for a sitter, you need someone who's been humbled by the same type of experiences. Yes, I agree with that. For instance, I had a good friend of mine who who went through a divorce, big divorce, very committed man to his family and stuff, and he went through some stuff, and his wife left him, and he was in severe depression. He was drinking every day. Just very angry. You know, just gave up on life, and it was like fuck life. Basically, and it was like all this is bullshit, and he never took any psychedelics or anything like that before. He would drink his drinks or maybe smoke his little weed, and that was that. But I was I was concerned about him, and I didn't want to see my good brother going through what he was going through like that. I was really concerned about him, and I said to him like, hey, you ever tried mushrooms? And I even gave him scientific studies and stuff and things from the research to show that it definitely rewires the brain, uplifts the mood, it helps with depression, all kinds of stuff. Because now we're at a renaissance. Now finally we have the universities and the doctors that are saying things that these medicine men and women knew for years. you know and so some people need validations from you know people within the medical establishment and stuff. So and I told him like, hey, so he finally was interested one day, and I gave him some mushrooms, right? I didn't give him a lot. It was some PEs, some penis envies, which are very strong. And so I gave him a few. And I was in the other room doing my thing in the kitchen. I think I was drawing or whatever, doing my art that day. And I remember him ever so often just calling out from the other room, like saying like, Dooley, you still there? I was like, yeah, man, I'm still there. It's all right, man. It's like, wow. And it was so interesting because when he came down, he said it was the most amazing experience in his life. Um, he was able to feel love again. This was what he told me. He was able to feel love again. He said he felt this level of abundance of love, like he was, like the universe was holding him and rocking him like a baby. So he came from that experience, really renewed and feeling like a whole new perspective on life. you know so it was very healing from him, and thus he was able to accept what was going on with his divorce. He was able to embrace a new beginning for himself, you know and he appreciated me just being there, because he just needed to know that he was okay, even though he was out in the cosmos and stuff. He still wanted to know, but hey, am I still alive? So, you want a sitter who's able to really just hold space for you, not get all into your energy field, and because you're very sensitive when you're on these medicines. You're very ultra sensitive. You could hear things much better. You could Everything is much 10 times more intense. It's like that guy, when speaking of hearing, like that guy named, that mycologist, Paul Statman. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his last name right. But the guy Paul, he had a mentor. I remember listening to this video with him, and his mentor was an older man who, and they was on this patio, right? and his mentor was hard of hearing. He wear hearing aids, right? So they was eating some mushrooms on the patio, and the old man took the hearing aids out, and all of a sudden the old man heard this sound like, you know, and he's like, "What is that? What is that sound I'm hearing?" And Lord behold, his hearing on the mushrooms got so in tune that he was able to hear the ants that were crawling across Paul Statman's. Yeah, yep. He was hearing the ants crawling across the patio. That's how in tune his hearing was. So for holding space, I even learned this when I was in Costa Rica when I was learning about the combo frog medicine. When we learned to hold space for people, even for instance with frog medicine, we didn't we were taught not to be all in their personal space. Like, give them space. If they need your help, if they need some more water, if they need that bucket to purge in, be assistance for them. If they need to walk to the bathroom, be there to hold them in case their blood pressure lowers and they're feeling dizzy. Um, that's the real thing of holding space for someone. Someone who I agree with the person who had made the comment earlier. Someone who already been through these experiences already, who knows about the medicine, so can kind of understand or have a better understanding of what the person is going through. You could never really, be in their world, but still you have that level of relating and understanding about someone being on the medicine. But really holding space is like just making sure they're okay, supporting them. If they need to go get some water because they're thirsty, go get some water. If they need to go bathroom, help them to the bathroom. If they need some music, that's soothing, from turn on some nice music, whatever. It's just being able to make their experience a safe experience for them, so they can be able to deal with themselves. All right. So that was my response to that question there. But I was talking about this rattle here, and I was saying that even my good friend, who he's always finding different birds on the road as he's driving and stuff, and making different fans and different things, headdress, different stuff. Um, we don't kill animals, on the level of using them as you're part of your tool, because that's negative energy. But in the case of this, it was a deer that was found, and we brought apart this rattle. Just bringing the deer energy, holding the energy of the deer, that's a totem animal of dealing with the heart chakra, dealing with the love. So that's another reason why I was so excited to find this rattle while I was in Mexico. But going back to the last healing I was talking about. So when I worked with the sister, I was using the rattle with her. And spontaneous, a song came out just for her, you know? And she was able to see the negative entities that was attached to her, all right? She was able to release some of those entities, but I also knew that the healing work was incomplete and I had to go to work and she had to go somewhere as well. So the healing wasn't complete. But she definitely, from that first healing, she was able to see what I was talking about in regard to some of her friends and stuff and what they were carrying on themselves. Um, so I told her, I was like, the next day, I was like, tomorrow we're going to finish this healing. We're going to go in with the rest of that. So the next day, I do the healing with her, and I take some San Pedro cactus and some mushroom, and that healing was deep. It was a lot of things that happened, but one thing that I would love to share with y'all is that this particular sister she was very connected to the Ifa tradition, or the whole Orisha system, you know, and she has a big connection with the Orisha Oya, you know. And so I played some music dedicated to Oya and also Yamaya. All right. And it was deep. All of a sudden, I go into full trance while I'm listening to the chants of the Orishas. And next thing I know, I feel the presence of these Orishas come over me. I start doing this spontaneous dance. It was deep. And next thing I know, I'm pulling out this illness out of her stomach. It was powerful. While I was doing that, it was interesting. It was two beings that I seen in my mind's eye. They looked like two black scarabs. And it was interesting. They tried to pose as helpers. All right. So they started speaking to me telepathically. And they said, "Oh yeah, 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 we're here basically to help." So I was like, "Oh wow, some more helpers. Isn't that great?" Well, thank you guys. But then I peeped their vibration and I said, "No, something is not right about these two beings here." I was like, "Y'all are not helpers." They was posing. They would try to cloak themselves and try to pose as some helpers. Next thing I know, is deep. Next thing I know, these two white dragons come out of me. They come out of me and they eat these little black scarabs up like it was nothing, like it was their lunch. And it was deep. And then the dragons start going into the sister's stomach and helping the healing process, eating up the disease and all that. Now, I never had that much experience with working with the dragons, right? And it's funny because I have a tattoo of a dragon on my right arm here, which goes back to some of my old homies, back to my MC days, right? But that's another story for another time. The only time I came across the dragons once was maybe a year or two ago, and it was these two beautiful dragons that were I was just watching them in my mind's eye, just flying, just going through the through wherever they were going, and and they were silver like. I remember those ones. They were like these shiny type of silvery type of dragons, and I remember they was talking to me telepathically, and telling me that they were the ancestors of the reptilians, you know. And anybody who's into UFOlogy or galactic history knows that the reptilians are considered the big bullies of the universe. And I don't want to, I don't want to just put all of them in one category because that's not right. That's just trying to categorize and say they're all like that, which is not true. You have some very enlightened reptilians as well. And to give you an example of that would be like that old school movie. I don't know if y'all ever seen that it was an old 80s movie. I'm a science fiction fan, but the old school movie, what is it called? Enemy Mine. Enemy Mine. And if any of y'all seen that old school movie, it's a classic, but it shows how these two warring beings that had beef for so long, this human and this reptilian, they're fighting in space and all that, and they crash to this desolate planet. And they have to survive, they become friends because of they knew they had to work together to survive on this planet. And it's a scene on the movie where they're comparing their spiritual belief systems, and the reptilian, the human cat, he's talking about, well, on our planet we have this thing called the Bible, and this is what I believe in, and we have this figure called Jesus, and he was about this and blah 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 blah. And the reptilian dude is like, oh yeah, I know who that is. That sound like, one of our great teachers on our planet. His name is I forget what the name he said for it, but it just shows you, it shows me what that movie was pointing to, was that all sentient beings have the capacity for enlightenment, you know, even if they're born in the harshest conditions, or even considered to be the most wicked, of species, you know. So the dragons, I remember when I first seen those silvery type of dragons, I remember they were saying they were the great ancestors of the reptilians, and that they felt very ashamed in a way of their behavior, of what basically their little brothers have been doing over the many of years, you know. So I remember I had that encounter with them so many years ago. And then, when I was doing this healing with this sister, these white dragons come through. So I was like, wow, these are powerful. So that was deep. And by the way, after I did this healing with this sister, the whole whatever was going on in her stomach, spleen area, totally gone, which was amazing because she's been dealing with that issue for over a year. And also her diet changed. She's After that healing, she said that she did not want to eat junk food anymore. Um, she stopped smoking weed. It was amazing. But after I did the healing, oh yeah, by the way, while I was pulling all this stuff out of her stomach area, I got very weak afterwards, right? Somebody made a comment. Had to take care of his kids in the end of the movie. Yes, that is true. You know, yeah, you brought it back on the sci-fi joint. Yep, yep. And you have to understand there's certain beings that are androgynous, all right? Have both sexes and stuff, you know. They were hitting on a lot of different things. I remember there was this guy. I listened to his interview. One of my good friends told me to listen to this guy's interview the other day. His last name is Stevens. Oh, I can't remember his first name. I'm sorry, y'all. But he was an elder, this old white guy, and he worked for the military, you know? And basically he wasn't holding his tongue anymore. He was in his 80s. He knew he was about to pass away because he was exposing that we're not alone. And the government, he would try to like basically sneak certain files from where he worked at. He was trying to photocopy certain UFO crafts that they had pictures of, the government had. And they caught him one time and said, no, you can't do that. You can't take, this is, top secret stuff. If and blah, blah, blah. But essentially these guys, because he was one of those people that felt that the public had to know, you know, certain government officials would basically get him in unmarked cars, take him to these abandoned, like in the video, in the interview, saying how he went to these unmarked locations and would interrogate him and basically said, you will not talk about this anymore, blah blah blah. He would, a couple of times he said they really scared him and said, like, they do all the threats. They say, oh, we'll take away your pension, we'll do this to your family, that. And he would stay cool for a month or two, and then he would go back to doing his work on letting the public know about this, that, that we're a thriving, universe of many different sentient intelligent beings. And what was so interesting about this elder is that he was saying in the video that there's many intelligent species that are trying to help us humans here because we're at a brink of destruction here. You know, he said that I forget what he said. He said that basically we don't have that much long at the rate that we're going, and that these beings don't want to see us destroy ourselves. They consider us a very special type of creation. And what I found was interesting too is that out of all these different type of beings, we have like we're one of the many species with the shortest lifespan that he was the elder was saying. He was saying that most species, most of them live like 1,000 years and up. You know, so we're a very interesting species, us humans, and he was saying that most of these beings, when they consider, they have their form of spirituality too. And he was saying that most of them just classify God, goddess as the creation. It's a very impersonal type of title to it, but they see it as something that's connected to everything. All right. And knowing that we're connected to everything, they don't want us to go to this demise. What they find interesting about us too is that check out Bob Lazar. He's coming out about his work on anti-gravity tech ET. Yep. The guy that I'm talking about, I will check him out. The guy that I was talking about, this military guy, he talked about all the reverse engineered aircrafts and stuff. Particularly the big history of with the Nazis, particularly. But they haven't. None of these particular governments. I don't care if it's China, Russia. Somebody else said some. Damn, what's his name? I want to give him a. I'm so sorry, y'all. Let me see if I can remember. Yeah, I'm sorry. I really don't. Maybe if you go into YouTube and put the last name Stevens and say last interview before death, it might come up. But what was so interesting is that he was saying that most of these different governments have not perfected it. He also talked about a former president, Eisenhower, and how Eisenhower was definitely one of those presidents that had ongoing interactions with some of these extraterrestrials. And he also talked about how some of these extraterrestrials were very human-like. You know, they might have small differences, maybe eye size or different type of size with the ears and stuff, little differences like that, but very humanoid. A lot of these humanoids he said that they came from Venus. Okay, yep, no worries. Okay, sorry, I don't remember the name. Sorry, my friend. But he said some of them come from Venus, from Mars. I think it was another planet he said as well. But so yeah, Eisenhower was definitely, he said, was in connection with these beings. And he talked about how Operation Paperclip research may lead you to the person. It's where Nazi scientists moved to U.S. to work here. Yep, very, very, very on point with Paperclip, Project Paperclip. Yep. This is the thing about this. This is what blows my mind, is that we're in the age of the internet, age of information. All this stuff is right in front of your face. It's like they used to make fun of people like, you know, talking about this stuff. Oh, wearing the tin hat crew. But you know, the more research you do, you're okay. Somebody else made it. Is it Connell Wendell Stevens? That might be him. Hold on, entered. You said that name does sound familiar. I'm not sure. I believe that's the person. I'm not sure, but most likely it's him. You know, um, but they used to make fun of these people, conspiracy theorists, all these different names you want to label folk. But indigenous people have been talking about the Star Elders, Star Brothers and Sisters for years. The Hopi, the Cherokee, the Dogon tribe, all these people around the world, the people of Australia, all of them said the same thing, and I was even watching something the other day. It was saying how the Mayans, 90% of the population one day just disappeared. And people was like, where did they go to? You know? And a lot of researchers said they went back, to Pleiades, constellation. So, indigenous people have been talking about this for years. And then of course you had government officials that have been knowing this for years. That's why we're at such a changing time. You know, a lot of people might not be ready for this to come out. It might really, some people might go plumb like crazy because they feel like we're the only intelligent beings out there. But that just tells a lot of people's level of arrogance. Look how big, the multiverse and all that, man. You're gonna tell me that? Come on now, come on. But what the guy was saying in the interview, what I found was so interesting, was saying that we are one of the few species that do not know how to travel through space. You have all these different beings just going from, one galaxy to the next at light speed, doing all kinds of things. And they're looking at our progress in our evolution, and they're scratching their head like, when are these people going to get it? you know so even things along the lines of racism and all these other things, if we can't get it along on our own planet amongst each other, come on now. When you start seeing some beings that look totally different, oh, this is going to be interesting. And I've definitely seen many of UFOs over the years. And I actually had contact with some aliens before too, which was scary as fuck at first. You know what I mean? I might have a whole different, way of interacting with them now, but that was in my earlier years of dealing with the medicine and psychedelics. They literally beamed into my bathroom. And yep, I feel like with the level of cartoons we was consuming in the 80s, we've been primed for the concept. Yeah, they're priming us, because, Eisenhower, he kept that secret to his grave, you know. And it was one pope that the guy talked about in the video that no, he wasn't a pope. He was definitely connected to the Vatican. And I might have to plug this thing in before it cuts off on me. But man, hold on, y'all. Let me look for this plug here. But this guy that was part of the Catholic Church, he was one of these big guys there that was connected to the Vatican and all that. But he told this one particular pope, that he sat down with these extraterrestrials, So they have a whole department in the Vatican. It was a certain term that they had for it, which is to let people know, like, yo, this is real, and this has been going down. But yeah, two Greys came visit me one time, and they just manifested right in my bathroom, man. Oh man, I freaked out. I was on a very high dose at that time, and I remember, I was in my bathtub. I was literally doing my journey in my bathtub. It was so funny, and I had one of my totem animals is the tiger. So I had my tiger pajamas on, sitting in this bathtub journeying, and I had the shower curtain, closed on me. And next thing I know is that I felt a frequency change into the bathroom. I'm very sensitive to energy. So, and then I turned my head and I seen two little grays behind the shower curtain. Man, I freaked out. I was like, somebody said, peace, peace. Check out William Tompkins as well. He speaks on the running secret, Spacebird, Nordics, Reptilian, etc. Yeah, I've heard of him before. Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Um, I freaked out. I pulled down the motherfucking shower curtain, all that, and they as soon as they came, as soon as they left, it's like he ain't ready yet. But it was interesting. But yeah, just I don't even know how I got on the subject of extraterrestrials, but yeah, the okay, which substance medicine did you meet the Greys on? Mushrooms, mushrooms, definitely. Yeah, and uh, Indian Rock Beach, Florida has a lot of activity. Skies, sunsets overnight, public. I wish I could learn how to pull these comments back. May see if I can figure out top chats. Oh, I figured it out. Word. Okay, now I can read them without trying to read it super fast. Okay, it says okay. May go back to it again. Okay. Oops, what happened again? Okay, top chat. Cool. It says Indian Rocks Beach, Florida has a lot of ET activity, especially watch the skies during sunset and overnight on a trip. I had a vision of them coming down to the public on the beach in the near future. Wow, that's deep, man. Wow, check you out. That's very interesting. Um, yeah, you have to understand that your perception with the medicine is you're able to see things that normally you don't see on a certain dimensional level. A lot of these ships are cloaked too, as well. They have cloaking technology. So some of them be right around, and you don't even know they're right outside your door. Because you have to think about it. If you're dealing with a civilization or some beings that are billions or maybe even trillions of years older than you, just look at the evolution. They'll look at our technology like really, they're like playing with blocks over there. They're still playing with Legos. So yeah, very interesting. So yeah, I don't know how again I got on that subject, but it's all good. I go with the flow when it comes to these things, talking about sharing these videos. But yeah, I remember the healing that I was doing with the sister with the stomach. You know what was so interesting too? Oof, it was deep. I don't know if any of y'all go to the botanicals, or sometimes you go there, you get your Florida water, you get your herbal baths and your candles, different things. But I one day I got this herbal bath, because some of the work I do, you interact sometimes with very negative beings sometimes, or taking negative spirits off people and stuff. And sometimes that stuff, like I said, with the purging thing, sometimes that stuff might have some residue on you, So you always got to do your spiritual cleansing. First thing I do before I even get out the bed is I do an energetic healing on myself. I do Reiki and different other things. So it's always important to constantly cleanse your auric field. And then you have a lot of haters out there. Hold on. Somebody says here, what are your thoughts about the psilocybin mushroom retreats? Hold on, it went away. Let me see how to pull it up again. Someone says, what are your thoughts about the psilocybin mushroom retreats in Jamaica? I'm thinking about attending. Hold on. It keeps on disappearing. Top of the chat again. Okay. I'm thinking of attending, but they are very expensive and would need to save up. Well, in that case, my friend, um, there's there's a lot of people. You have to understand decriminalization. There's a lot of decriminalization happening state to state. You know, California, Ann Arbor, Michigan. You know, I actually sat with. I did some Bufo sessions for some of the people that helped with the decriminalization movement in Ann Arbor, Michigan. I remember that weekend I worked with about 20 some people that weekend. And I learned a lot that weekend just sitting, because when I do Bufo with people, I don't know about other medicine workers or whatever, but I microdose with the person so I can have 1 foot in this world and 1 foot in the spirit world. And I remember that weekend, I seen one of my guides that walked with me, you know, and she looked little like, I don't know if it was Maria Sabina or not, but she looked like Maria Sabina, maybe one of her relatives or someone. But it was this old Mexican lady, and she would come over me at certain points during working with the bufo, and my voice would change. It would go into a very high pitched voice, and it would be like, it was. I can't mimic it right now because I'm not in that zone, but yeah, it was deep. And again, I remember that weekend they really, the spirits really showed me, perfected the way of really working the rattle. You know, the rattle, certain instruments, like I said, are so important to really carry, really work with, because when you're clearing someone, when and this is when you're working with people, or even when you're working with yourself, it's the art of listening. It's really the art of really being in the moment, being very, very sensitive to the moment, to knowing the right frequency to shake off something that's on somebody, or to bring them deeper into this place that they're at in the spirit world. But yeah, this song, this elder would come over me, and this song would come over, and I would sing these songs. But yeah, I mean, in Jamaica, I've never been to Jamaica yet. I always was interested in going there. And but like I said, like there's a lot of states that are doing decriminalization, and as they're doing this, you have more accessibility to the medicine. You know, you'll be able to find more people that can hold space for you and hold ceremony for you. So take a look at the different places that are doing decriminalization. Again, this is a renaissance that's happening. You have to understand that my father and my mom, two very spiritual people. Like I said, my mom transitioned, but my father is still here, and both of them were a big influence on my life to even get into a lot of this type of spiritual work. And my father, he used to play jazz music. Met a lot of great jazz musicians. He met Dizzy Gillespie. He had a great opportunity to jam out with the famous Pharoah Sanders and McCoy Tanner. And my dad used to always tell me that music could be used in a very healing fashion. My dad, one of my aunts was a Black Panther, so I had all these different type of influences around me growing up. And I remember my dad went to Woodstock too, and he seen Jimi Hendrix play live and all that. And it was interesting because I used to ask him a lot about the hippie movement and all these different movements during the 60s. And you have to understand that a lot of indigenous people, again, this wasn't nothing new to us. A lot of these things were part of our culture. But, a lot of middle class white Americans that were, you have to understand how you're thinking about 1950s America, right? And the first people, hold on, I am in NYC. Cannabis has been decriminalized in my state, but not mushrooms. Dig. And that's where people have to look at their local mayor, different people, and get involved with decriminalization and push this to get this going. But you look at 1950s white America, right? For instance, Elvis Presley, it was a big thing for him gyrating, Oh, what are you doing? You're thinking about white America hamburgers, hot dog, you know, it was like so bland, Even different cultural food hasn't been that long, here in the United States. You know what I mean? So when you look at like the first introductions for even white America waking up, you had the beatniks, and you had the classic thing of people making fun of the beatniks with, they had their little turtlenecks and their little, I forget what type of hats they call that. Usually I forget it, but and they're like, they were basically influenced by jazz music, and they were doing their little poetry and stuff. And you had people like Allen Ginsberg and other poets that were paving the way for the hippie movement. And then, of course, you had Timothy Leary, who worked at Harvard University, Ram Dass, that was a professor at Harvard at one point, and these guys were saying to their students that psychedelics were teaching them more about themselves and reality in the world than their whole college career, their whole educational career. So of course Harvard had to kick them out, for saying things like that. But at Harvard University at one point had a actual psilocybin program there. These guys were giving psilocybin mushrooms to their students, all kinds of stuff. And this is where that hippie movement gave way to white America waking up, right? You had these young white hippies that were getting more involved in looking at the civil rights movement, were looking at saying, hey, why is our government hosing down black folk? Why are they treating people like this, having these Jim Crow laws and, these segregation of like, I remember my father, was down south, went down south to visit some of my relatives. And I think he was probably like 4 or 5 at the time. And he was real thirsty. And, he's like, saying to my grandma, oh, grandma, ma, I want some water, and he seen a water fountain, but it was for whites only. And I remember my dad telling me that, as a little boy, he couldn't understand why he couldn't drink from that water fountain. He had to wait to drive so far to a relative's place where they had this well water, which was pretty dirty. And my father got very sick that summer, So you had these white hippies that were seeing the injustice, and their third eye were opening, where they started to say, hey, why we're having this Vietnam War, don't you know that trees can talk to you, that, everything has a spirit, all these things. Oh, hold on. Somebody said something. Damn, okay. Somebody's saying something here. Hold on, top chat. It says, damn, I got to hit the hay, but what an awesome session and blessing to be live with you. And hold on. It went away again. Hold on. Shoot. Hold on. Let me see here. To be live with you and everybody tonight. Very inspiring. Until the next time, thanks and praise. No problem. And it was thank you for being here and listening, my friend. Okay. There was another comment too. Okay. They play with you in the ships. They've turned into planes on us out Hold on. It went away again. Okay. Okay. It said, the person said, here, they play with you in the ships. They've turned into planes on us out there coming out of nowhere and turn around right on shore to head back out over the water. Yeah, it's a lot of deep stuff going on out here. So is another comment. Are you familiar with Sun Ra, the jazz musician? He was a spiritual genius. Oh, yes. I'm very familiar with Sun Ra. I love his music. I have a good story about Sun Ra, actually. One of my good friends, his mother was one of the dancers for Sun Ra. And then I had another elder that knew Sun Ra as well. And she told me of a story once that he is a friend of Sun Ra, a friend that this woman was sick. She was in a hospital. And he dedicated that particular night of them playing for the woman that was sick. And the woman that was sick said that she heard the music that they was playing at whatever club or wherever they were at in her hospital room. And she felt all this healing energy coming into her body. That's just a classic Sun Ra story account that this elder told me about this friend that he helped do some healing for with his music, far distant, right? Sun Ra was very deep individual. He has a classic cult movie called Space is the Place. Very deep movie. And if you listen to any of Sun Ra's interviews, he always would say that he was from the planet Saturn. And you have to understand too that there's a such thing called walk-ins. All right. Some people can make agreement before they even incarnate here and say, hey, we're gonna do the switcheroo at this age, you know? And there's different types of walk-ins. There's braided walk-ins where two of the consciousness are still in the same body, and it's a gradual type of basically one spirit or what is soul goes to one body, and they do a switcheroo, and they then go to this one. Some people believe Sun Ra was a walk-in, you know, in his later life. I actually used to work at a metaphysical bookstore so many years ago. It was called Unicorn Books. It was an awesome job. I really liked working there at the time. I met a lot of great authors that would come and do book signings, and they had workshops there and stuff. And I remember it was this couple that came in, very peculiar looking couple. They was all dressed in blue. And I remember they was talking about the New World Order, Illuminati, and a lot of different things. And I remember that they said that they were scanning everybody in that room where we were at, and they was gonna see who was a walk-in. And it was funny. They got to me and they said, "You're a walk-in." And I said, "What? What are you talking about?" And they said, "Yeah, you became a walk-in around the year 2000," which kind of struck me back because I did have a big shift in the year 2000. It's like people that know me knew like I really changed overnight, because my early teens and in our early 20s, I was one of those wild dudes just wilding out in the streets and stuff. And, I still had knowledge itself, but, it was interesting. In year 2000, I really embraced the goddess energy and, like, became very peaceful, like, overnight. I remember distinctly throwing away all this very negative rap music. I love hip hop. I'm always going to be a lover of hip hop. But there was certain frequencies of music that I couldn't just listen to at that time. I gave my whole rap collection to one of my best friends, which was big for me. I became celibate at that time. I stopped smoking weed and drinking at that time. It was very interesting. Yeah, yeah, it was very interesting. But yeah, Sun Ra is deep. Sun Ra is deep, and definitely said he was from Saturn. And even hearing the guy that I was telling you about who worked in the military, seeing how there's different beings that actually look human from different planets, such as Venus, Mars. I believe he even said Saturn as well. So there it is, but Sun Ra definitely was a pioneer and definitely a deep, 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 deep dude. Also, I loved Alice Coltrane, of course, John Coltrane, Don Cherry. These were very deep jazz musicians that definitely were taking their music to help elevate people spiritually. There's some other comments here. Yeah, I he needs to fill the void. I don't know what that meant, but thank you for the comment. Um, Somebody else says something here. Thanks for sharing your wisdom stories, brother. G2G now to much peace and love. Thank you. Brother Dooley, much love. Who's that right there that just said that? Hold on. Let me see here. Oh, that's Jordan. Hey, what's up, sister? Yeah. Good to see a familiar face on here. Yeah. And also, yeah, after the healing with the sister with the stomach issues, like I said, she didn't have any issues after that. And also, what was interesting, she had to leave. So when she left, I was still in that zone. And I ended up doing like some type of exorcism for several people in the spirit realm. And some of these individuals are very close friends of mine. And it was deep because I was like, wow, what is going on now? But it would seem like my higher self was still kicking in. And oh yeah, before I do that, I was saying about the Botanica. Do you know that at one point, after I was pulling the stuff out of her stomach, I was feeling very tired and weak at the point. So I got this message to say, drink the spiritual bath. And I said to myself, my logical mind tried to kick in. I was like, what are you talking about? Isn't there some chemicals in that? I'm like, some turpentine and all this other stuff. I was like, I don't know. Then the voice said, yeah, drink it. Because at that point, I started to feel the little thing in my throat and the little energetic purging thing for a second. So I went in there, took the spiritual bath, and I just took a little sip. And Lord forbid, I mean, but and it was funny. The woman that was healing, she seen what I did. She's like, "What are you doing? You're drinking poison." So at that point with the frequency where I was at, I drank it and it cleared that negative energy. It was deep. I'm not telling anybody to do this, by the way. There's certain things that people can do when they're at a very high vibration. It's a very high level of alchemy, you know. Um, I just found that was interesting. That's like even some of the people that you see that are able to eat glass at certain moments or stick a like one of the elders that was in Mexico that took the snake venom for his back because I think he had a car accident or whatever. M. Fedici, he was letting me read his book, and I was reading the first introduction. He was talking about when he was in Africa, how he seen this guy that literally put this knife through his cheek, and he even went closer to show him, yep, it's there, and then he pulled it out, and there was no blood or nothing. It was like even no wound or nothing there. So again, there's a lot of mysteries to us. But I believe people can do these things when they're in a very, very, very high frequency, where you can manipulate matter itself. But What was so interesting though, after that, this level of exorcism, I seen these individuals, and what was brought to me, they were showing me that there were certain entities on these particular individuals. And I was shown to use these ancient Tibetan dagger, and I was able to pin them down with their hands and feet with the dagger. And these dragons, again, the dragons came out of me, and they went into them, into their mouth, went into them, and basically was eating up the negative entities. And also, I used the lightning, you know, lightning energy came through in my mind's eye. I was seeing that come through and then going into the person and dispersing that. It was tricky because I was working on almost 5 people at one time. So I had to hold them in a container. And again, this is where your creative visualization comes in practicing with that, so you can be able to hold these visions and hold them clear when you're in this state of mind. But I used a macabre around them, and it was like also these type of like force field around each of them, so these negative spirits wouldn't try to escape and thus come back to them. But that was so deep. And then after all that, some other things happened, but I that's not for camera. And but after everything came down and everything was done, man, I was so weak. I was doing this energetic purging thing for almost 5 hours. It was so deep. It was like it was. I felt so weak. It was something else. I had to call a lot of my friends to just ask them to send me some healing energy and stuff at that moment, because I felt very vulnerable at that point. But again, I'm learning. Even all the work that I'm doing, I'm always learning. So I even got some tips from some elders on certain things I could do, so I wouldn't, when I'm taking things off of people or what have you, I won't have to have it affect me so negatively, or absorb it so much. So hold on. Wish I could stay longer, but I have to get up earlier. Thanks for sharing wisdom, peace. Yeah, I'm about to end this too. I don't even know what time it is, and I didn't even expect to go this long, to tell you the truth. But yeah, last summer just ended pretty much here. But yeah, some of the elders told me, just there's like quantum touch. I don't know if some people are familiar with that system of healing, but for instance, they use water, and no, don't end. Well, I have to get up early myself too. So Team Ying Menzu, word, you already know. These are very powerful, powerful crystals. I notice when I'm very high in energy, it starts just glowing. These are the crystal of the royal Chinese family, and of course, I have my trans-dimensional crystal that Baba Kalindi gave me. And these are important. Again, these are more tools that you can use. And Sister Acacia talks a lot about that, how you can download your experiences in these crystals. So if you really enjoyed going to one particular constellation or one particular planet, it's like a map, that you can literally go back to. So when you go back on the medicine, stare at your crystal when you're on the medicine, and the map will open again, and you're able to go through and go back to that particular place. These are very high technologies. Um, and I'm going to speak upon that in regard to this comment. Thank you all for just mentioning that, because I wanted to talk about this real quick in this video too. But real quick about the quantum touch, they would use the water. So whatever negative type of stuff you're taking off, you would throw it in the water. A sister told me to take it a step further, put some sea salt in the water. So there's just different things that we can do, so some of that negative residue don't stick on you. you know. Of course, always, a sister told me always, she said from this native tradition of calling on your helper guides in front of you and also your protector guides in back of you, and seeing a energetic circle around you, of protection. So there's things that you could do, but then there's also times where you get so deep into the journey or so deep into battling certain lower entities that sometimes it just gets thick. It's like even in a physical battle, sometimes you might, you're wielding a weapon. This person got a sword, this person got this. Sometimes you might get nipped, even if you're the best of fighter. But even if you get nipped, you might have to, while you're fighting, might have to, get a cloth, wrap it up and still keep on going because the fight has to continue. And then, of course, when we deal with enlightenment, we understand that this is a reflection of the all mind itself. And when I believe truly in my highest beliefs, that are knowing that there's a level where you surpass all this drama, all this all this type of drama, and I really, you know, got a taste of that, especially with the Bufo, going through all these dimensions and going into that level of singularity. And I believe that's all our birthright. You look at some of the great masters, like I even said, like Milarepa and Talopa, Naropa, all these different individuals, Sheikh Amadou Bamba, Simio Toko. When you look at some of these masters, there's a level of the spiritual development where you master the game to the point where none of their tricks work anymore. You know, Sheikh Amadou Bamba, they call him the African avatar, and there's people that tried to poison him, couldn't poison him. There's people that threw him off of airplanes. He didn't die. What is my thoughts on fasting? Fasting is great. You need a reset. We all need a reset. We overwork our digestive system too much. A lot of us overeat. And even the high rates of colon cancer is ridiculous because I used to work with a naturopathic doctor who was also a student of Dr. Sabi at one point. Real good sister. And she did colonics. And I remember sitting back seeing all this sludge and all this stuff just stuck in people's colon for months, maybe even years. It was crazy. So fasting, yes, it gives your digestive system a break, and it also heightens your spiritual awareness. You're able to hear things that you normally don't hear, see things that you normally don't see. So your spiritual senses are even heightened with the level of fasting. So you always hear about all the masters throughout the world that would always utilize fasting. Definitely. Yeah, but I was saying about Sheikh Amadou Bamba and Simio Toko and some of these other great masters, even Simio Toko from the Congo, they have actual assassin journals where they said, yeah, we chopped him up, we thought we killed him, and walked around the corner and he reanimated himself. So there's a level where you go beyond this game, beyond this hologram here, and it just has me think about, even for instance, the venoms. There's a level where you mysteries within that whole system where once you get up to the working with the vulture, your whole scent, your whole DNA change, where you could walk through a jungle and no animal will attack you because they smell venom in you. So they're not gonna mess with you. It's all this stuff is so very interesting. And again, I can't wait until I go to Mexico to learn more about the snake venom and the scorpion venom and all that. But I'm gonna end real quick with This great writer, and they had me think about him by the y'all had me think about him because of the transdimensional crystal, and this guy's a great writer. I had to one day go to the comic book store and just try to find all his work. Um, this guy right here, Joe Jodorowsky. This man is deep. I seen he's a filmmaker, but also he writes comics. The first movie I seen about him was The Holy Mountain. If you haven't seen that movie, it's a very surrealistic type of movie. It's very he says the way that he directs his movies and writes his stuff, especially for film, he wanted it to be a visual psychedelic experience. So he really is geared to using symbolism, and anyone that studies anything along the lines of symbolism sees how symbolism really communicates to the subconscious mind. So the Holy Mountain is just a deep film. It's like I can't even explain. I mean, it's basically these individuals trying to find themselves, and yeah, I can't. You have to just see the movie yourself. But there was a book that really blew my mind, and it's called The Inkel. The Inkel. I didn't know there was a final one and a prequel. Hold on, somebody's saying something here. Speaking of comments, the new Loki series. Hold on, let me see. Top chart, what it says here. Speaking of comics, the new Loki series is extra psychedelic. New episode. Wow, I gotta check that out. And yeah, that whole mythology, the Norse mythology, Loki, Thor, all that. This mythology is deep. If you want to get more into mythology and how that relates to just culture in general, definitely look up Joseph Campbell. He wrote the book The Hero with a Thousand Faces. Just look up any of his work. He has a lot of YouTube stuff on there. And, these mythologies are basically talking about you, you know, the various aspects of yourself. The trickster, Loki, there's so many archetypes of the trickster, Burr Rabbit, Coyote, and even if you look at the trickster in the tarot deck card, it's zero, you know, and you look at the symbolism of the fool or the trickster, right? And the fool, what is he doing? He has one little knapsack thing. He travels light, and he's about to walk over the cliff, right? So he's fully trusting the universe, you know? He's like, and he's not attached to anything, you know? He doesn't hold anything, any possessions or anything, you know? That's why you even look at the symbolism of ancient Kemet or Egypt, and you see the Duat or the underworld and the symbolism of Ma'at, the goddess of truth, righteousness, and justice. And she has the scales there of the heart and the feather, making sure that your heart is not outweighing the feather, you know. We have to be light. That's why they say enlightenment. We have to be light, man, and learn to shed. And that's a big part of the psychedelic experience as well, or the just in general, the spiritual experience. Because, we have to understand shamanism, or the shaman, even the shaman path, and we know that's a word from Siberia, from the Tungus people. But medicine man, medicine woman, whatever we want to use these titles, It's the person who masters the art of trance, right? Um, so you don't necessarily have to have an ethogen or a plant or fungi or anything. One of my old teachers who sits with Iboga, he told me a long time ago, get yourself a good drum dually, you know, and learn how to put yourself in trance with the drum, you know. And you can access that information with the drum. You can access that information with ecstatic dance, different things, you know. So it's the art of trance, you know. Um, yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. Actually, okay, yeah, you can see it's getting late. I'm almost fading out, but yeah, this guy right here, the Inkel, I didn't know it was a final version and a prequel, but it's this guy. He's considered a fool. I guess it's the main character here. His name is John D. Fool, and he's your classic, you know, trickster type of character, you know. And if you study this character, he's not concerned about the world. He's all into his worldly pleasures and into prostitutes and getting drunk and smoking and stuff. I'm in Sedona right now. The wind has a lot to say. Wow. Thank you, Wind. Thank you, Shu. Yeah, I love the wind, man. It's beautiful. I love all the elements, man. It's beautiful. Yeah, man. I remember I connected with the wind once, and I had this staff, this wooden staff, and I was on some medicine that day, and I was in the Blue Hills, and I need to go there. Yeah, yeah, me too. And I heard Arizona has a lot of great energy, ley lines and stuff there. Yo, imagine if we could go into trance by the use of that. Hold on, okay, may go back. Yo, imagine if we could go into trance by use of best boxing. Are you saying beatboxing? Yeah, is that what you're referring to? Because, that's one of the elements of hip hop. That would be dope. I bet we could, you know? This is all ancient science, you know? Um, in regards to time, things are going to cycles. So we did all this before anyway, you know? But this guy, it's interesting. He finds this particular crystal, which in my view reminds me of the transdimensional crystals, and it has this consciousness of itself, and there's so much stuff in it, you know. Yeah, beatboxing, word, word. That's what's up. Yeah, but check it out. Check the book out if you can. I think it has some jewels in there. I picked this one up, the Meta Barons. This book is wow. It's connected to the Incal, but he's one of the key assassins in the universe. And it just shows his family lineage and what they have to do to. I mean, this book, I remember a couple of nights reading this comic, this graphic novel, and I was going places with this. It's so futuristic, but when I was looking at this, I was like, man, this is familiar. We've done this stuff. You know what I mean? Very deep stuff. Haven't read this one yet, but this one is called The White Llama. It's about this guy who's this European who's a reincarnation of this High Lama. Definitely gonna check that out. Oops, somebody has a comment here. Sounds like hit from. Hold on. Hold on. Somebody says something here. Sounds like hit from Dragon Ball Super. I haven't watched that many Dragon Ball Z. The assassin. Yeah. I've watched some of the old school stuff, but I have to get more hip to the Dragon Ball. But Dragon Ball is definitely like my homeboy Firewater, deep dude. He definitely talks about the connection with the Yin Manzu and the Dragon Balls. Yeah. Wow, y'all stimulating so many thoughts with me now with these comments. It's very deep. Um, yeah, this one too I picked up. This is about these clones, and one of the clones are, you know, not he comes out larger or whatever with the clones, and then the other clone. So they're trying to kill him off because he's a different one. And yeah, this is all interesting stuff because the Genome Project and stuff. And what's that company where they're saying you can have designer babies now? Literally, have them their own colored eyes and all kinds of stuff. This is stuff that these sci-fi movies been talking about for the longest. Like one of the Supermans, I forget, it came out a couple of years where all the babies were made like that. And Superman was one of those exceptions where he was born the old school way by making love. So yeah, this is all interesting stuff, and in my opinion, to other people who might be like, yo, y'all talking about some crazy stuff. But yeah, these are things that are part of our galactic history. I remember when I was in college, I got a scholarship because I was always into art and stuff. And I remember I had a friend from India. His name was Hari. And I remember he told me about the Vamadas. That was so many years ago. And I was like, Vamadas, what is that, man? And somebody's, Brother Dooley. Okay, peace. um, Somebody else saying something here. Hold on here. Um, is that a copper necklace? And crazy how you were talking about a stone. I'm actually getting Moldavite soon. Any thoughts? I heard a lot of good stuff about Moldavite actually. I have a lot of friends that actually rock that. Um, Very good on clearing things, and some people say that it's so strong that it can sometimes make certain people sick because of the clearing ability. So, you know, just some people can't wear it that long, because it's just so strong. But I heard a lot of great things about it. Yeah, the other person here says it's called crisp. Yeah, CRISPR. That's correct. Yeah, this stuff is like we're living in these times now. It's very interesting. But yeah, and that goes up to the whole conversation of who's actually walking people with souls and who's empty shells walking around here. It's gonna get very interesting. It's gonna be a very interesting years coming up. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. But yeah, this my good friend Acacia put this copper thing on for me because I was like, I gotta figure out a way to wear it. Essentially, she put it for my head to have my third eye there, but sometimes I just rock it around my neck, So, but I'm gonna hit the hay myself. It's been a long time since I did a video, and I felt like I wanted to share some of my experiences that I've been doing these healings with people lately, just to inspire others, to let them know that these things are definitely possible, You just got to do the work. I'm not anyone special, We're all connected to the all. And I just been just doing my own personal work over these years, and I have seen some of my past incarnations, my reincarnations. So, that's why I'm kind of, gravitate towards these things because I've been doing this work for several lifetimes as well. So, but keep on working, on yourself. Make love the top priority, you know. You have a lot of so-called Facebook gurus who are just out to get likes and want to be the top guru and all stuff. That stuff is dead, it's always good to get a teacher and stuff, but make sure you know who your teacher is, and make sure he or she is authentic on walking this path. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes all the time, and I learn from those mistakes, and from those things I become a better person. But just at least make sure someone's authentic and humble about really wanting to heal themselves and work on themselves, so they can help you if you're seeking guidance. But also know that all this stuff resides in you. You're your own guru that's ready to come out. You're your own sage. But if you're a newbie on this path, the first thing is really to do the shadow work or do the cleansing, clearing your own trauma and generational trauma, going into that epic genetic DNA. Because a lot of us are carrying a lot of stuff, even from our ancestors, you know. And sometimes we don't even know what drama or anything that we're carrying. I'll be a little personal, and I'm just sharing this because you know might help out another out there, you know. But I was at my one of my good friends' house in Detroit in his apartment, and I had some shanga. I think I had little mushrooms that night too, and it was great conversation and all that. And and it was brought to my attention that I was touched, inappropriately, as a little boy. And then, I brought this to my father's attention. I was like, did anything happen to me, Pops, when I was younger or whatever? And he told me that it was a guy that, the place where they used to drop me off at this daycare center. It was this white guy that was working there that was touching all the children. So, it made a lot of sense for me I'm glad that came up to the surface for me, because there was a lot of different things growing up where I was just having a lot of depression and just a lot of sadness and a lot of things that would just come up, and I wouldn't know what was going on with me, you know. A lot of insecurities as well, So, you never know what's going on sometimes with a person or yourself. And that's why a lot of these medicines are important too, because they unravel a lot of, the trauma and things that we go through, and you have to clear up first before you start turning into your super self, because I try to give people a lot of examples sometime. Like some of my students, sometimes I give an example of, for my people that love anime, that movie Akira. That's one movie that really got me into the anime. I was like, oh, what this movie? That and Ninja Scroll. But I remember when I seen Akira, I had a big impact on me because it had so many different themes, and it was very multi-layered. But one of the themes there was, the main character there, who goes into it, who steps into his power. He was basically bullied, before he got his power. And, he's a chump, a herb, all his friends didn't really have respect for him like that. And so when he got his cities, when his supernatural powers started coming on, he went haywire. He started destroying stuff, all kind of stuff, even the people that he loved or cared for. And that's just another prime example why you do the shadow work, why you do the clearing first. You know, that's why a lot of these medicines like ayahuasca and, you know, combo, a lot of these different things, they're all about the purge. There's all about letting go of the stuff that no longer serves you anymore, you know? Because it's like, you know, you stepping into your power when you're not ready. It's like giving a baby a gun, you know, because we're very powerful beings, you know. So that's important why you do the groundwork, you know, and the unraveling of these many layers of yourself. That's why, in a lot of ways, there were a lot of secret societies. And I'm not saying secret societies that are based on controlling a population, but secret societies that help, that were wisdom keepers and seeked out, or students that came at the right time when they were ready and were able to go through the steps of knowing thyself, you know? Yeah, yeah. That's important. Yeah, that's important, you know? Yeah. Well, I'm gonna get off here because I'm, you know, I didn't expect to be going this late. Uh, but thank you for taking some time to listen to this nobody here. uh, let's see here. But somebody said some other comment. Good to see your face, brother. Oops. Where's hold on? It just went out again. Good to see your face, brother. Thank you for being you. Next time, I want to hear what you were going to say about the Vamadas. Oh yes, yes, yeah. Well, I could finish real quick. My friend Hari was basically saying that, you know, that this is the technology and all that we're thinking we're so advanced now, that you know, his ancestors even from India were very advanced technologically, and we're gonna see that more and more with Earth changes. You know, you're gonna see certain things that were buried underwater or the Earth come up, and people are gonna be amazed on certain things that they are gonna see in these coming years. We have technology now to look, you know, into things into the earth buried so many feet below. So they're seeing all kinds of ancient civilizations that are deep buried. You know, the whole story hasn't been told. You have to understand that, and future generations of children are going to start to have galactic history as a part of their curriculum. You know, so you know, and a lot of this deals with racism, unfortunately. You know, our European brother, you know, the younger brother, you know, he's in his, you know, and this is all prophecies because a lot of people we time travel, you know, and it's like your little brother, you know, he's gonna, you know, you have, if any of y'all have some younger siblings, you know, it's like they want attention. Oh, look what I could do, I got to, you know, and you know, you being older, you know, your older brother, older sister that might have went through certain lessons already or have gone through experiences, that's called wisdom, you know, if you know how to apply it. They already know the saying to your little brother, oh man, you know, I've done that already, you need to calm down, you know. And that's how I think about our European brother who wants to deal with nuclear war, all these other things. We've already, a lot of indigenous people already been through those things and experimented with those things, you know. Unfortunately, you know, those things can be talked about in the Mahabharata and a lot of other ancient scriptures. You know, they have nuclear signatures and in various places around the world, you know. So when you learn from mistakes, you know, there's something written in your DNA to know that, no, we already did that shit. We're not going to do that shit again. So, Yeah, but this is all a learning process. This is a school here, you know, and we don't want to get a failed grade. You know, it's time to wake up, y'all. But let's see here. I think there was some other comments here that just went. Someone says 111 here. That's what's up. Someone says, "Wow, my left foot just got very hot." Wow, check you out. Someone says, "The animated Disney movie Atlantis came back to me on most of my recent trips. Good download." Yeah, Atlantis, Lemuria. Yeah, the whole story hasn't been told, and and this current age that we're in, people want to pride themselves on the so-called technology we have, but like Baba Kalindi taught us, like we had natural technology. We knew how to use crystals to its highest degree, under ethogens or under trance, seeing holograms come out of them. Like I said before, using them as ancient computers. Those were our ancient computers, the crystal skulls, all these things. We knew how to use, we had our own form of technology. And because a lot of anthropologists, archaeologists, they they just see it as some primitive artifact and they don't know how to use it, you know? So, yeah, it's interesting. Very, very interesting. Even the Mass, when Baba Kalindi used to tell us that there were many tribes that would use Mass that were made of acacia wood. So when you sweat, the psychedelic compound would go seep into your skin, into your pores, and thus the mass becomes alive. You go into that other dimension. And I was even going to talk about cloaks or robes, how important that is to have ceremony garb. You know, I have a sister who's making actually a new cloak, shamanic robe for me as we speak. And there's certain sacred symbols that I'm gonna be putting on, sewn into there. Mirrors are very important when you're a spiritual warrior and you're doing this type of battle with some of these entities and stuff. Because the mirrors, when they come at you, it's whatever daggers or things that are being thrown, it's reflected back at them. So there's a lot of different things you can do, you know. Somebody says something else here. The crystals are the center theme for the movie. That's right. Within Atlantis, that's right. And it also shows me too, and this is why I really got from my studies with Buddhism and other schools of thought as well. But it doesn't matter how technically advanced we are or other species are, if you're not dealing with the heart, you know, so far you can go, and that's why even that reference with the dragons and them being ashamed of their offsprings, their later offsprings, some of these reptilians. And you have to understand a lot of these beings are very advanced, reptilians and different ones. But what are you doing with your technically advancement? You know, let that be a lesson. Even with ancient Atlantis, there's been too much tribal warfare. You know, too much "I'm better than you" type of stuff. You know, could get so far with that. But I'm not making that many videos because I'm just doing a lot. I'm trying to write a children's book right now on Reiki and doing a lot, studying a lot. Got to get ready for this trip to Mexico for the snake venom. So I'm studying this and doing that. So I don't have and just if I don't really have something to say, I just don't want to talk. I take time out from social media or making videos sometime to work on myself. And when I feel like I'm making some type of leeway and have some things that I think are important, that's when I come back out, make another video to share. But I just don't want to make videos just to make it, you know. So please be patient with me until next time, you know. And will tell you definitely my journeys with the snake venom and things I'm gonna be learning from that. Um, there's just been a lot of changes going on with me, you know. I even looked at some of my old videos and I was like, what kind of vibration was I on there? Because the rapidness of your change, you know. Yeah, in a lot of ways, I felt like I had to, you know how Lauryn Hill says, I put a motherfucker in so the ignorant niggas could hear me, you know? I felt like I had to dumb down myself in a lot of ways just so I could relate, because I want this message to get to everybody. But I'm just learning just to be me, you know? And if people rock with me, they rock with me. If they don't, they don't. And it's all good. You know, you're gonna find someone that fits for you anyway, you know? You know, so yeah. Uh oh, someone says some other stuff too. Uh Chicago Field Museum is way too incredibly massively full of South American, African, and ancient artifacts, including mass. Worth a trip for sure. They have thousands and thousands of pieces. Wow. Never been to Chicago, but maybe I could go out there, do some combo or some stuff with folk. Invite me out there, come out, and after we do some work, go to the museum. Certainly they were all psychedelic tools. Yes. The snake venom ceremony sounds like something from Billy Jack. Who's Billy Jack? I'm not sure who that is. I love your old videos. You drop hella gems. Thank you. I appreciate that. I don't know who Billy Jack is, but yeah, this snake venom is an ancient tradition from many different continents. Um, Even the cobra deals with your kundalini, you know. And each of them, they deal with different things. Some of them heal certain organs. Some of them, you know, cleanse your blood, all kinds of stuff. Some activate your kundalini, like I said. And it's a way that you dilute the medicine so you won't harm yourself. It's a particular science of doing it, you know. Um, Someone said Billy Jack, it's a movie. Okay. Well, I gotta look it up. Okay. I gotta look it up, Billy Jack. Okay. All right. Well, thank y'all for listening. I appreciate your time. You know, y'all could have been doing anything else, but thanks for spending some time with me. I appreciate it. And y'all have an enjoyable rest of your evening or whatever time you're watching this. And be at peace. All right. Thank you. Take care. Now, let me see you exit out of this.